There's this moment we love seeing. A coach finally stops copying other coaches and finds their own voice. What does that actually look like?
It's pure alignment. They're not trying to be like anybody else. And you can see that they trust your intuition, their tone, and their timing. That's when clients connect with them the most. So I want you to think about a time when you were either coached or led by someone else. Someone who wasn't following a checklist or a script, but was being very present with you and personalizing the session based off of where you were. What did that feel like? How did that help you? And how confident did you feel knowing that you're both going to figure this out together? Now that's what it's going to feel like to your clients when you find your voice too. Because the truth is they found you for a reason. That's why being yourself is exactly who your client needs you to be. Here's why. Authenticity actually builds trust. It allows them to feel the freedom of actually being truthful with you as well. Because if you're trying to coach people and they're holding things back from you, it's really difficult to be able to help them transform. And how best we can do that is by modeling the behavior first. Now, I want to let you know that your true voice develops through practice, through repetition, through feedback, not through perfection, not copying people, and not following a script. It's about using your voice and your strengths. That's why today's quote is, your voice isn't something to find, it's something to remember.
So why do you think coaches try to sound like someone else?
I find this comes up because of comparison and really insecurity, when in fact, their client signed up for them to hear their story, to get their coaching, and to get their help.
How does authenticity change their coaching?
Really, they make the session about their client, not about themselves.
Can you tell us what helps a coach rediscover their voice?
Practice, feedback, and rinse and repeat. The truth is in the beginning, sometimes you might want to follow a script. Sometimes you might want to have a process that you go through because that will help you find your voice. But anytime it feels off, we want to call out to that. We want to lean into our intuition and we want to figure out a way how best to communicate that in our own voice. Because like we said, that's what our clients signed up for. And when we can remind ourselves of this and we're willing to take action, to get feedback and to level that up, that's exactly the kind of voice that your clients need. Somebody who's modeling the behavior for them. So let me give you an example of when it actually happened to me. So when I first started to coach, I went through a certification. And the certification taught me how to understand not only the subconscious mind, but it was really focused on life coaching. What I found is I started to just sound like and ask the same questions that my instructor did. But I felt like there was a piece that was missing there. And for me, I discovered it was actually combining life coaching with performance coaching. But in the moment, if I had just continued to go on that path, I would just have been a duplicate of the coach that was teaching me. And so I decided to go out to find something that would help me learn how to actually not only understand how the brain works, but how to get people to perform so they can break through both the internal and external barriers and leave the call with a plan to take action. Because I never like to leave people just trying to figure it out on their own. And so when I was able to find these two and marry them up together, that's why we do this inside of our certification. Because I didn't want to just do exactly what everybody else did. I felt there was a missing piece, but I was willing to lean in and develop it. And now that's what we teach other people how to do too. Inside of our certification, we see people developing into their natural voice by just having those conversations and being willing to share where they're at and get some guidance and feedback along the way. So if you don't have a group where you can do that, definitely find one. It'll help you develop your voice on another level. Now, when a coach finds their voice, everything changes, not just for their clients, but for themselves too. But in our final breakthrough, we'll talk about a moment that every coach eventually has, which is realizing that coaches transform a lot more than just their clients. But you have to keep your eye open for it, or you might very well miss it in the sessions. We'll share that in our final lesson in this series.